Hello, sixth graders. In yesterday's video, we talked a little bit about the art of the dialogue and how this was a classical writing technique that the Middle Ages adopted for teaching people about what the church taught or for legal training, and that it was occasionally used in medical training. And we introduced the idea of two characters, Simplicio, the dumb one, who starts off saying dumb things but gradually becomes aware of his errors and who is brought out of error into a state of greater awareness, and Sagrado, the smart one, who very gently and kindly corrects and explains things to Simplicio in such a way that he understands. We also briefly discussed the idea of Salviati, the faithful one who speaks specifically for church doctrine and helps Sagrado convince Simplicio of the truth of Sagrado's words. But you don't have to include Salviati if you don't want to. It's a lot harder to include a third character in a dialogue than to just have a conversation between two characters. And we also looked at how you could write a dialogue that would involve a discussion of, did Pope Gregory do the right thing in excommunicating and then forgiving King Henry IV, and the whole business of Canossa, where Henry IV knelt in the snow for 3 days waiting for Pope Gregory VII to forgive him. And then we also looked at the two different ways that you could write this dialogue, that Simplicio would start off by saying that the Pope did the wrong thing in forgiving Henry IV, but then Sagrado would point out all of the ways that King Henry was a good king, even after he threw Gregory out of the job of being Pope. Or you can argue that Simplicio would say that the Pope did the right thing in forgiving Henry IV, but then you're going to be arguing this point, that by forgiving Henry, Gregory made the church weaker. In writing very complicated dialogues with more than one or two back and forth, it's helpful to write an outline. And the outline for a dialogue should look something like this. You're going to have Simplicio on one side with his mistaken opinion, and then you're going to have Sagrado's real opinion on the opposite side. And you're going to go back and forth between question on one side and answer on the other, question, answer, question, answer, question, and then a final summation in which Sagrado lays out his whole case as he's already explained it, and finally ending up with Simplicio saying, "Oh, I get it now, I understand what it is that you're saying, and I agree with you." This is the structure of all medieval dialogues, that one character, the smart one, Sagrado, always wins the debate, always wins the dialogue, and Simplicio, the dumb one, is brought around. In real life, argument rarely works like this. It's very hard to convince somebody, even somebody who's dumb, that they should agree with Sagrado in the end. But in the world of medieval dialogues, Sagrado does in fact always win, and so writing an outline for yourself is a great way to prep before you actually write the dialogue, so that you have a clear sense of what it is that you're saying. Now, a lot of people start out their dialogues with Simplicio's opinion being what it is that they believe. And if that's the case, then keep in mind that you can, in fact, reverse these two opinions. And it's a whole lot easier to change the names of the characters like this and set it up this way so that Sagrado actually wins at the end. And this is tricky because writing dialogues, it's frequently the case that you make the mistake that you start out with the opinion that you really want to support and not with the objection. So keep in mind that after you're done writing, you may have to go back and figure out which opinion you really do agree with and position Sagrado and Simplicio accordingly. I hope this helps you write your dialogues this week.